Okay, test.
Testing.
Wow.
Testing.
Every single time we do this, I just want to keep it in as the introduction. Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome back to another episode of Our Sci-Fi World. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Jeff.
And this podcast is a rewatch of one of my favorite shows, Supernatural, and it's a first-time watch of Supernatural for him. However, there is a caveat.
A caveat.
Yes.
Well, we are sharing, since she's never seen my show, my favorite show series. We're trading off. So season for season, Supernatural and Star Trek. So for her, later, it'll be a first watch for her and a rewatch for me.
Yeah.
And then we watch the episode. We get on here and we talk about it. And we ad-lib the opening. And then we just see where it goes.
Yeah, pretty much. We have no plans here. Don't come here for plans or for facts.
Are we expanding our slogan? Yeah. Well, I'm going to open my zero sugar, sun-kissed orange.
We are not sponsored by them.
Not yet.
Okay, so today we watched the season 1, episode 14, Nightmare, air date February 7th, 2006, written by Sarah Gamble, who later becomes the showrunner of the show, and Rael Tucker, and directed by Phil, I'm going to butcher his last name, Sgriccia, Sgriccia, I don't know, man. All right, so, summary. Sam has a premonition in which a man is killed, but the murder is made to look like a suicide. Sam convinces Dean they must investigate the case, but the two are puzzled when they fail to find anything that indicates the death was supernatural in nature. That is, until they find out that Max, played by Brendan Fletcher, the reclusive son of the first victim, has been using his recently acquired power of telekinesis to kill the family members that once abused him. Sam also discovers Max's mother was killed by the same fiery demon that took his own mom.
What?
Nothing.
Why do you have that face?
Nothing. It's okay.
What?
No, it's okay.
Oh,
Let's just keep going.
You can't make a face at me like that, and that.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I want to open everything by saying that I can't watch this episode without taking note that the mom in this was Sabrina the Teenage Witch's mom in the Melissa Joan Hart version of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And Max, the boy, young man, I recall him as playing a werewolf-ridden child in a Goosebumps movie, one of the Goosebumps movies back in the day.
Really?
It was Grady. Yeah, and he had a werewolf situation with himself back in the day. His name was Grady in the episode. So I just can't watch this episode without being like, oh, it's Grady from the Goosebumps and Sabrina's mom from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I'm going to have to go back and catch that one because I was obsessed with that show. Fine. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go back and catch that. And then you're talking about Alice, the stepmom?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. First off, shout out Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan. That's my home state, y'all.
And they were rolling it so hard.
Which tracks, though?
So it does, actually.
Yeah.
From what I've seen after a few trips, 100%.
I don't know. Is this a thing that other states do? But in Michigan, it's definitely a thing where, we have, our... for those that don't know, Michigan is shaped like a mitten. And so it's kind of a iconic shape for us. And so we'll oftentimes have, ornaments or fridge magnets or whatever of the outline of the state of Michigan. I wouldn't say that it's like a patriotic thing by any means. It's not like state pride or anything like that, but it's just, I don't know, loving your state and just kind of having decorations that show that love, I guess. That's what I've always...
I think that's half the definition of state pride. I would call it state pride. Being from Texas, having lived in Texas, I think I think it's definitely a state pride thing,
Well,
but that does not happen in every state.
But Michiganders and Texans are not the same
No,
people.
very true. No, it doesn't always look the same, but that level of, oh yeah, by the way, I need to make sure that you know I'm from Michigan.
I don't really think that's what it is, but also like in Texas, a big thing is like flying your state flag, the Texas flag.
Yeah, and
we don't do
that's
that.
What I'm saying.
Michigan.
The Texas pride hits different for sure. There's it's like if you start a timer when you meet a Texan, it's not going to take long for them to let you know that they're Texan. But that's a bit. I still think it counts as state pride. Like I lived in Tennessee for a while. I don't think it's the same thing there. I mean, I lived in Nashville, and I think there was more pride for Nashville than there was for Tennessee. And obviously in Ohio, most of the time people just apologize for the Ohio portion. But there's definitely a state pride in Michigan. But the way that they did their set design around it, it's like somebody
It was from Michigan.
Yeah. They're like, no, you don't understand. You got to put little Michigan trinkets.
Yeah, there was
Michigan.
There's a Michigan fridge magnet and a Michigan mug that we caught. And I mean, my parents have a bunch of Michigan things around their house, and I have Michigan things here.
There's
now,
a Michigan cutting board in the kitchen.
Yeah, part of it is because, I've moved away from Michigan, so it's kind of an homage to my home state. But it's really, again, I'm not using the word pride. It's literally like, I just love Michigan. I love my home state. And so I just kind of want to, and part of my decorating style is featuring things that I love and enjoy. So Michigan is one of those things. That being said, my mom's also bought me a lot of Michigan things, so I just put them up as well. There's very few things I've bought for myself. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we have a really cool shape. Like, who wants a like awkward squarish type thing? Ohio, like that's the outline of Ohio, right? But Michigan, it looks like a freaking mitten. It's so cute.
Colorado pride, man.
Yeah, there you go. Colorado's a great example. It's just a freaking square,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, go into any office building, they've got the Colorado shape, like in the printer.
No.
It's this. Yeah, it's awesome.
No.
So okay.
So either way, I appreciate that they did that.
They did their research on that one for sure.
Because that tracks for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That tracks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very authentic.
Yeah. Well, I also did fun fact, and I feel like there's a discovery period of trying to find crossovers, and I really hope whenever we switch over to the Star Trek side, I hope you do the same thing, because that would be really cool. John Shaban, one of the EPs on the show, one of the executive producers, it rang a bell, and I couldn't quite figure out why. And you say it's because he's a writer, director, producer.
Yeah, I mean,
he wasn't a writer on this one.
Yeah, to be clear, the writers on shows typically also have producer titles.
Oh.
Like, they won't necessarily be like, here's a writer, here's a writer, here's a writer. It'll be, co-executive producer, whatever. And so a lot of times the producer names that you're seeing, they're actually writers. And the level of producing is really just creative producing as it is. It's not like the money side of producing. They just get producer titles, and associate producers half the time are assistants. Yeah.
I thought this was going to be my fun fact, but you totally just made it a really fun fact. I did not know that. Well, what I found out, it rang a bell, so I looked it up, and you said it was because he wrote a lot of Supernatural, but that obviously wasn't the case here, because I've only seen 14 episodes now. So I looked at him. Turns out dude has done a lot of things, but the crossover is here. He wrote Dune. He wrote his writer on Ozark, which I do like. He was a writer on Breaking Bad, which is one of my faves. It was a writer on X-Files.
Oh.
And Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh.
So, Trek crossover complete.
Yeah, we've already had a couple of those.
Yes, we have. And I'm assuming there's going to be a lot more, because you get into your day players, you get your actors that move from show to show. I'm assuming there's going to be a good number, because Trek just had a lot.
Well, there'll be a lot more crossover. Did Trek ever shoot in Vancouver?
No spoilers.
Where the production shoots is not a spoiler.
Okay.
You don't know the answer to that. is actually the real answer.
I don't actually know because some of the newer stuff, I'm not sure if it was more popular in the 90s or if it hadn't become a popular place to shoot yet. Like I know in Atlanta, it's a lot more popular now than it was in the 90s. So I don't know. I do know that the show's 60s, 90s, and at least the early 2000s, those were all Los Angeles.
Okay, well then you're probably not going to get too many crossover of actors because when you see an actor in multiple different shows that you watch, check to see where those shows shoot, especially if they're not like a huge star. Like if they're like someone that's like playing a B character or a C character in an episode or something. Check to see where those various different episodes are shot, because more than likely they're shot in the same place. Like my show that I work on, most everybody that works as a day player, just for like the episode, lives and works in New York. It's
not uncommon for you to get people that come in from
sometimes. Yeah, I would say like once every few episodes, maybe. It just really depends on the character that they're playing, and if they can't find somebody in New York that they feel fits the bill. But most often they are local to New York, and so a lot of the shows that shoot in LA, most of the actors on those shows are local to LA.
Right.
So you don't get too much coast to coasting. So a lot of the people that you'll see on Supernatural, you might see guest star on, I don't know, probably it was Smallville. Did Smallville shoot up in Vancouver? I'm not really sure.
It took place in Kansas. I remember that much.
And also network as well, like in the same network.
Yeah.
A lot of actors will, because they'll get to know one producer who knows another producer in the same network, and they get recommended, that sort of thing. But a lot of times it has to do with where you are, because it's a lot less expensive to hire an actor that is locally, because you don't have to fly him out, you don't have to pay him per diem, you don't have to put him up in a hotel, you don't have to provide transportation, and generally speaking, they're just cheaper. Like that, you don't have to pay them as much as a local.
Yeah.
Because if you're bringing them in, a lot of times you're paying them more, too.
I mean, that makes sense. That's cool.
So it's a good way to keep costs down. Anyway, so, that diversion.
Back into the show. First off, new record was set. Committed a felony in the first 3 minutes of the episode this time, which I do believe is a record at this
impersonating
point.
An officer.
Impersonating an officer. Except this time it was Sam.
Yeah.
So,
you're just going to have to get over this, because it's literally going to be for the next 15 seasons.
I'm going to have to get desensitized to a certain level, because,
I mean, now that you say that, like, when you've been bringing this up for the however many episodes it's been, I'm just like, I honestly don't even clock it anymore. I don't really care. It's just what they do. It's just, I don't really think about it as them breaking the law, really. It's like, yeah, they just do what they do.
Question from the opening scene. Question time with Jeffrey. I'm just curious. Have you ever, I know that it happens a lot on the TV. Have you ever actually had a key break off in the lock? Or in its device? Or do you know anybody that's ever happened to?
I think I know someone, because I feel like I have a real life experience with that happening. I'm trying to remember what it was, but I do remember there being an instance in which a key was broken off in a lock. I just can't remember what it was. It's an older car.
Sure.
That's my plausible deniability.
No, I just saw it and I was like, you see it all the time, but it's never happened. Now, I've always been terrified of it. Don't get me wrong. I've always been scared about this actually happening. But it's never happened, and I didn't think that I'd know anybody that it's actually...
I've definitely experienced it in real life before. I just can't recall who, what, where, when. But I definitely, it rings really true to me of like, oh my God, this is bad. Like,
are you sure it really happened?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
Sure. Okay.
But I bumped more on the fact that I don't think that that's how it happens. I don't think it happens so fast when someone
asphyxiates.
Yeah, asphyxiates. Yeah. I don't think it happens that fast. I feel like it would take way longer for the fumes to build up in a garage.
I mean, there's some physics involved. You could step on the gas.
Maybe Max was making it worse, like he was amplifying it.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's possible. Okay, so that's fair. But I brought something up, but you also caught it. Is the door locking portion? I couldn't quite figure that one out. Like, why would this guy, if he was ending his own life, why would he lock the doors? It didn't make any sense, but
To prevent somebody trying to save
from coming in and stopping him. But yeah. Okay, so fine. Keys can actually break. It's not just movie magic. Fine. I'm down for it. But anyway, what'd you actually think of the episode?
I mean, I
skipped right over it.
This disc here, these 4 episodes, Route 66, Nightmare, The Benders, and Shadow. This one and the next 2 are really good. I love this episode because it really, like, it blows the door wide open on the kind of overall story arc thing with Sam and what happened to him as a baby, and like, oh my God, there's another one, and he's got different abilities, and like it really just like it amped it up. Although that probably didn't pick up on the mic.
I'm not sure if it did or not.
It amped it up like to 11. Like I feel like we kept getting little teases of it, and then this one was just like,
yeah, they dripped. And I was looking actually at it a couple days ago. I think it was episode 5 when we got the first insights that Sam has something going on.
Bloody Mary.
We don't know what it is. Yeah, exactly. And now, and they give us these little drops of there's a demon mobile phone network or whatever this is going on over here, and then there's connections, there's communications, there's a conspiracy going on, like there's something huge going on, but it was like these little trinkets, and this one they gave us a lot, and I liked it, and there were some little nuanced things that I'm not sure. In my prediction corner, I'm reading it like crazy. So some of them I'm not even sure if they're actually real or not, or if I was just looking for them. I can't tell yet. But other than that, like, I honestly don't have too many notes in this one because it was just good.
The VFX,
definitely one of the
for early 2000s. I thought the VFX were so good. I mean, there was definitely some moments where I was like, oh, that's. It could be better. It could be better. But I'm also like, putting into consideration early 2000s and a lower budget TV show.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and lower powered computers.
Yeah.
Can't do the lighting effect. Can't do the reflections to full capacity. They couldn't do like the lighting transfer to make, the gun.
Yeah.
The gun looked really, really good. But the reflections on the gun, it looked like it was a very, very well lit gun.
Yeah.
In a kind of a darker room.
Yeah.
It wasn't ambiently patching, but it was still really good.
Yeah, the knife looked really good. There was one shot of the knife, like when it's away from her, we're kind of looking kind of over her shoulder towards the knife. That was like a little suspect, but the poking the teardrop out of her eye, I thought that looked really good. That one looked really good.
So I do have a question for you, but you hit that moment, and since that door's cracked to our Trek audience, with the knife getting in really, 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 really close to the iris, nearly poking the actual eyeball portion. I looked something up. Trek World people, this episode was released in 2006. Star Trek First Contact was released in 1996. So I'm just going to leave that there. But the poking of the tear, the actual like breaking the tear with the point of the knife, that was beautiful. That was actually really, really cool. Like it.
Yeah.
You feel the tension building as it gets closer and closer, and you're like, is it going to touch? Is it going to touch? But then that visual shattering of the moment was a tear. Oh, come on. That was cool.
Yeah, that was a really cool moment.
So
sure.
It had me wonder. We're jumping a little ahead in the story, but I think this is worth it. I'm curious what the conversation looks like on effects, because I'm assuming that there's questions about we kind of want this thing to happen because you're looking at a script or storyboards or something. We want this to happen. We have different options on how to make it happen. Some directors are going to have preferences. There's going to be questions like budget. There's going to be questions like, practical versus CGI. Even the year will change that conversation too. But I would assume that because of a production schedule, you probably have a lot of variables of unforeseen problems. Like maybe start running out of time, and by the time it gets to the VFX crew, they don't have near as much time as they thought they did, and so they have to rush what was going to be a lot of effects, visual effects, CGI. and they could have done it practically if they knew that they didn't have the time at the end of it. So yeah, I'm just curious.
Opposite.
Highlight the feeling.
It's opposite. Practical takes longer than visual effects. Because with visual effects, you pretty much just have to get plate shots, and then they create everything digitally in post. With special effects, you have to rig it. If you are, I mean, there's definitely some practical things here. Like when the knife was on the table and like shaking, that was probably practical.
Yeah. Yeah, we watched the cutscene and it looked like it was like that scene was already done when the other portions of it weren't done yet, so it looked like it was practical.
Yeah.
But what I'm curious about is how does the conversation go from words on a page all the way through, and what factors mess it up? Do people just get overly ambitious every time?
I mean, I think that they planned on all the visual effects that they did in this. I'm sure they were probably planned on. I don't think it was like, oh, you know what, we can't do it. We'll just do it in post. I mean, every once in a while that happens, but in my experience, you know what you're going to do practically and what you're going to do as an CGI or whatever before you start shooting. And then you plan your day based on that. And a lot of times you aren't able to do practical effects because they take more time and you just don't have it. The budget usually, it depends on what it is. Like, for example, bullet hits. I don't know about the early 2000s, but bullet hits now are a lot more expensive to do practically than they are to just have visual effects just go ping, 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 and visually add it in CGI, as opposed to having squibs, which are a special effect thing that just explodes, looks like a bullet hitting something, or there's another name that is escaping me. Zerk hits. Those are more expensive than a visual effect bullet hit. But there are some things that are going to be extremely expensive visual effects wise. Like if they have to create something from nothing. I did an episode where it was like a Halloween episode and the main character was having like visions of like ghouls or something like that. And there was a lot of talk about how to accomplish that. Do we do it with actors in green suits? Do we how do we do that? And it ended up being the visual effects department just created them like completely from scratch, and I'm sure that cost quite a bit of money to do it. But it became a time versus practicality and how much visual effects is going to have to be added to the practical, because sometimes they're married. It's visual plus practical effects. The shot will be both. And that's actually very common. They'll shoot elements for the visual effect using special effects. Like they might shoot fire, like something on fire, and then we'll shoot that, and then the visual effects will amplify it and make it bigger. Mm-hmm. It's just...
Yeah, it makes sense that some things would just be a lot more difficult in special, like CGI, than it would be in practical, like flipping a car. Imagine having to do that with computers when you could literally just flip a car. Now you will have your practical issues in doing that, but all the moving components of that.
Well, especially in the early 2000s. I mean, now I think it's probably still common to do it practically, but now with the ability to make full AI humans, you know, flipping an AI car, you obviously have to have the budget to do it. It's not going to be something that's cheap by any means, but...
So then when you've just got really, really bad CGI, it's typically because the VFX team just did a bad job?
I would say a lot of it has to do with budget, but yeah, I mean, obviously there are some people that are going to be better at it than others, and money talks. You're going to get the best people for more money. So.
Interesting. I assume that conversation would have a few more layers to it. But anyway, in this case, I did love the fact that it was subtle.
Yeah.
They didn't try to really push it hard like the shapeshifter. You know, there were so many issues with that one, and that poor airplane in the thunderstorm, and where they overdid it, whatever that means, but they overdid it. And in this case, it was just one knife moving. It wasn't perfect, but the knife spinning, or the letter opener spinning on the table,
that was great.
Such a soft touch. I really, really liked it. They sold it. They sold it because of its simplicity.
Honestly, that letter opener spinning was so perfect It might have been practical. They might have rigged up some sort of magnetized something or another, and had it.
I was wondering if there were bits and pieces of that, and I did mention while we were watching this, the only thing I would have tweaked on that, if you've got a sharp letter opener, which is basically a small knife, spinning on the table for that long, I would have stuck a little nick in the table where it just started to grind into it just a hair. But yeah, I kept staring at that. But that was just, if we were just watching the show for enjoyment, I wouldn't have paid near as much attention because they sold it.
Yeah.
But in that case, I was just mesmerized with how they did it.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed, obviously, some parts of it had to have been VFX because of it, it falling down, it coming back up. But the actual just sitting there spinning part and the slowing down and the speeding up, easy to do with magnets.
It looked perfect, and which makes me think that it might have been special effects done practically.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't have been impossible to do.
And it did really help us move through the Sam's position info dump portion of that. But it was good information. Mm-hmm. But if we were just sitting there watching Sam talking to this guy who was on edge.
Yeah.
I mean, boy, he was shaky.
Dude, I got shout out to my werewolf Grady friend from Goosebumps to now being Max. Like, he really sold that character.
Yeah.
He really did. It was in his body.
You could see it.
It was in his body more than it was in the words he was saying. Yeah. And I think that is a huge testament, because a lot of times with more inexperienced actors, will say, they're trying to sell it with their words and the way that they say something or whatever, or with bigger things, right? But this kid, like, especially when Sam burst in before Max could kill Dean, it was like just that what's it called? Flinch.
Yeah.
The flinch.
Yeah.
It was just a flinch, and then just like you could see subtly him just shaking like a leaf.
Little tiny spasms.
Yeah.
Like you could see his neck pulsing. You could see veins coming out of his head.
Yeah.
He was on the very, very edge of losing control. But he sold it. Yeah, no, you're dead on. He could have said nothing in all of that and still sold it.
And a lot of it is not even those moments that are making him fearful. That's just his character. That's how his character lives. That's why he's doing what he's doing, because he's sick of living this shell of a human being.
Right.
Who's just, and even his posture. He's always like hunched over and making himself small. That's the thing. He was a small actor. Don't get me wrong. He's very short. But like every time you see him, he's making himself smaller.
Yeah. It was almost like he was ready to run or ready to hide under something.
Yeah. Not in an obvious way, just in a someone who does experience the type of abuse that Max does oftentimes will just make themselves as small as possible.
It took me back to, again, the Shapeshifter episode. When we were talking about, it just felt like they didn't have enough time to tell the story. Like, we didn't really get to understand the Shapeshifter.
Oh, wow.
Because everything was about the words, and we didn't get all that backstory. And there were all that stuff that was missing. In this case with Max, I felt like we got all of that. Mm-hmm. We understood. Shapeshifter were like, why would you do this? It seems incredibly painful. Is he insane? Is he just a psychopath? Is he damaged enough that he's just tired of it? Does he feel unnatural and he's just trying to fit in and he's getting rejected? We could fill in the spaces here. And he did get a few moments where he was like, yeah, I'm not normal. This happened to me last week, showing the scars, the scratches, bruises. But
welts.
He really, really, I believed it. And Sam said it in the car. He's like, you almost can't blame him.
Yeah.
Especially as
it's not that insane.
This just happened.
Yeah.
And it's still happening. He didn't even know that information yet.
Yeah.
There was still more coming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, should he be killing his family? No. But what Sam said is true. It's not that insane. It's not insane to think that somebody who experienced what Max did would want to get rid of the thing that's causing him this pain. It's not insane by any means. Is it okay to do? No. But is it insane? Absolutely not.
He's got this disposition that if he gets rid of the evil things in the world and if he makes the things right, then he's going to stop having his nightmares.
And he's going to feel better.
And Sam's trying to tell him,
that's not how
you're just creating more nightmares if you keep doing this.
Yeah.
You don't make the world right by exacting justice.
Yeah.
In this kind of situation. You may feel like you are, because we do have an inherent need for the world to feel balanced.
Well, I think that it's pretty common that when you experience trauma at some sort of age that you kind of get stuck in that age. So he has a very childlike approach to it of, this thing is a thing that's hurting me. If I get rid of the thing that's hurting me, everything will be okay.
Right.
As opposed to understanding as an adult, like, that's just simply not how it works. Trauma doesn't work that way. You're still going to be an extremely traumatized human being, and you're still going to feel like there might be some relief there because now this threat is gone. So maybe you can feel like you can actually try and live but you're still going to have to deal with everything that's happened to you.
It'll be fleeting. Yeah. It's not going to be the permanent solution that it feels like it's going to be, or that it tells itself that it's going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, Sam did get through to him, but unfortunately he took the wrong message from it, which was that, you're right, it's not going to help. The only way it's going to help is for me to kill myself.
That was one of those things that I caught something, and I'm not sure if I caught something or not. We're so skipping forward to the end of the episode, but I'm down for it if
we
you
always
are.
go all over the place.
All right, let's go. Okay. I don't want to be offensive with this question, but I also don't want to completely veer things way the hell off. He looks back at Sam. He says, no, it isn't. The gun flips and moves and fires. Sam smirked just a hair.
I didn't.
When that gun fired.
I didn't see a smirk.
Okay. Assume maybe there was a smirk, maybe there wasn't. And I kind of want to go back and show you now after we finish recording just to see if maybe I'm totally full of shit right now. Is there any kind of possibility here that Max didn't turn the gun on himself?
Sam definitely didn't do it. I know where you're going with it. Sam didn't do it.
But that he let go of the gun in Sam's new telekinesis, either consciously or not. The only factor, I know you're shaking your head already, and I'm just intrigued. The only factor that I could think of that could be an overwhelming can't blame the guy is that he had that gun pointed at his brother.
Yeah, but Sam still thinks that he can get through. I mean, he's talking to him. You know, he's not threatening him or anything. He's trying to convince him to put the gun down. And also, Max brought his head to the gun.
Did he?
Yes, he did. He's like looking at Sam, and then the gun starts coming over Sam, and he swings his face towards.
You gotta look over here at the microphone, honey.
Well, I'm showing you.
I know you are, and I appreciate it.
They can still hear me.
I hope so.
I'm sure they can, but
we'll fix it in the post.
Whatever. So he's looking at Sam.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find this real quick, but I do want to hear.
Max is looking to his left towards Sam as Sam is talking to him, and then he said, "You're right," and then he swings his head towards the right as the gun swings towards him and kills himself. Also, hell no, Max is way stronger than Sam with telekinesis. The only way Sam was able to use his telekinesis at all was when he thought that his brother was an immediate, he saw his brother die.
True. No, true. And yeah, I'm not saying that he overpowered him. What I'm saying is that the possibility, and again, a lot of times my predictions corners are wrong. Keep in mind, I have no idea what's happening 5 minutes into the show from now. But it made me wonder, not so much that he overpowered him, but Max did let go of the idea of murdering Dean and stepmom and believing what Sam was going to say. And so it wasn't so much that he was overpowered, but he completely let go. He telekinetically let go.
Yeah, but then you'd also have to assume that Sam the entire time was trying to get a hold of the gun. Because otherwise, how would he know that in that exact moment that Max is letting go and he's going to take over? He has no control over it yet. That the ability to move that cabinet was like a punch. So I feel like that Sam would have had to have had another punch in order for that to happen, which means that he couldn't have been waiting for an opportunity or something to take over the gun.
Well, there's a lot of different sci-fi ways that telekinesis works. So I can leave it to I'm wrong. It was interesting to see. thought I saw something.
You're
but
entitled to
I
your
could
wrong
see-
opinion.
I could see the telekinesis thing. I could see that one version of the argument of how it works. Was parts of which the Q continuum style. It's you just think it, even if your subconscious thinks it, it can still make it happen.
Yeah, I don't think Sam's head was thinking that at all. Sam was trying to get through to him. That's where Sam's focus was trying to get through to Max, because at the end of the day, he also really cared about Max, because he sees a kinship with him. Even the fact that Dean says you guys are nothing alike, he feels that there is, and also not for nothing, he probably feels that Max is a bit of a key to his own history, his own story. And so if Max is gone, he doesn't get that anymore. Now, granted, yes, there's a gun pointed at his brother, but I think that he also genuinely really wants to save Max. That's also one of his priorities. Priority is to save everybody.
I agree that consciously he wanted to save Max, and I agree. He saw this kid as the key. If there's two of us that have these abilities that have just recently started developing, and there's so many overlaps, having us both here to compare stories, check, experiment, we're going to find out more. We're going to learn more. So yeah, I'm totally on board with it. It's just, I'll show you when we go back, and hopefully anybody listening, hopefully you go back and check it, because it looked for a split second like there was something there. I want to show it to you just so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm totally fine being way, way off with my theories, but I did find it very, very interesting. And it's a fun thought experiment. Just say, you know what? What if? What if? Maybe there's going to be a release in The Boys when they come back around to it. Maybe Jensen? Yeah. Jensen's going to look at it and be like, by the way, I did have the gun. Maybe he'll do that. You don't know. Don't look at me like that. No, we're moving on. They can't see how you're looking at me, right? All right, well, this is my podcast now. I did appreciate, though, how after he was thrown into the wall, Dean's still unfazed by the trauma. Dean is still in this life-threatening, stepmom is freaking the hell out. Dean gets picked up, thrown into the wall by nothingness, and he's still getting up like it was just like he tripped over the couch.
These boys have been thrown all over the place all the time.
Oh, but the way that they build it in, the way that they keep, I don't know how conscious it is, or if the Dean just decided to keep doing it, or however this was done, but there's respect that they keep doing it. He keeps on playing cool because he's so cool under fire. He's so used to this.
But speaking of stepmom, did you catch that last shot of her? I always thought it was a little... I didn't know how to read it. So she's like sobbing to the police officer, like, I don't know where I got the gun, and everybody and my whole family is gone. And she's sobbing, which is an understandable reaction. And then the officer leaves, and they just have this tight profile shot of her. And I'm not sure how to read it. I don't know if and to this day, I still don't know what they were trying to say with it. Were they trying to say that now she's just kind of like going numb?
I don't know.
And just kind of going numb?
What was it?
It was
you just said there's a cell profile shot. You haven't said what it is yet.
A close profile shot of her.
What did her expression change or something?
Well, she wasn't sobbing. You must not have been watching, I guess.
I must have blinked or something. I'm not sure what I missed.
Well, it's kind of hard to talk about it now because you didn't see it, but...
Now I'm curious.
There's just like this close-up shot of her after the officer walks away. It's like a profile shot of her, and I still to this day don't know how to read it. I don't know if it's like her kind of just going numb to like this is now her existence, or if like she put on this show of sobbing about her family, and now she's just like this sociopath who's just disassociating. I don't know. It was weird. I was like, I don't know how to read it.
If it was just a weird angle, because I definitely want to go back and see it now. We're just going to have to go back and watch the whole episode again.
It wasn't an angle. It was just her expression.
So her expression was not crying anymore.
Yeah, but it was just very...
interesting.
Subdued and just...
But it was immediately after she said they're all gone?
She's crying. The officer said, okay, and he's like sobbing. He's like, okay, like kind of resigning the fact that she's too emotional to talk to.
Yeah.
And so he just gets up to leave, and then the camera focuses on her, and she just she's not crying anymore, and she's just kind of there with an kind of expressionless, really.
So it was right after she said they're all gone. Does she possibly just realize that maybe she's free now?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, all my theories are just getting shot to hell tonight.
Well, she was sobbing when she said that, though, that
Yeah.
they're all gone.
I don't know, man. I haven't seen it, so this is all a Stephanie theory on this one.
I don't know. I've always been disturbed by it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need to see it now. So unfortunately, I can't weigh in on it. However, this was the episode for looks. We can go that direction.
Looks?
Just looks, just words that are being spoken with an expression.
Oh, so okay, yeah.
Because Max earlier looked at Sam and said, "You're crazy." And Dean gives a very Dean look to that expression because we've already realized that Max is freaking crazy. Or he's at least a little bit off. You know, there's very much of a Deanism. But then
the little psycho.
Deanism number 2, the very end of the episode, okay, you actually are having these premonitions. You know what we're going to do about it, right? Vegas. Deanism. But then Sam walks by, and then
you get the
again,
truth.
the truth. Yeah, I think you called it the truth face.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really, really cool. Is this passing glimpse of the Dean that gets presented, which is why I call it the Deanism, is the Vegas joke. Again, no chick flicks. But then the reality of, okay, this is, something's actually going on with my brother here.
I think you missed it earlier in the episode. I think you're writing something down. But when Sam says to Dean, "Tell me this doesn't freak you out," like kind of like challenging him to it. This whole him having premonitions and all that stuff like that. He's like, tell me that this doesn't freak you out, knowing that the answer is that it does. And Dean goes, he kind of pauses and says, "It doesn't freak me out." And then Sam looks away, and Dean kind of give this look like, did he buy it?
Yeah, I did catch that. I saw that. Finger pointer over here.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of looks in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you kind of think that they're maybe just written in or director's choice or whatever maybe. But there just seemed to be a good bit of them. There was a lot that was delivered without words this time.
And there's another moment too when they were in the hotel rooms. Dean was cleaning the guns, which I have a behind the scenes thing about that actually. Dean was cleaning the guns, and Sam gets his first headache. That we've never seen Sam have these visions during the day and have a headache and everything like that. We don't see that. And Sam is getting increasingly agitated because it's hurting, I'm assuming, more and more. And he's like grabbing his, the bridge of his nose and just kind of like, and Dean like is doing his gun thing. And he looks up at Sam for a brief moment, just kind of like, as one does, as you're talking to someone, you might glance up. And then he looks back down his gun, and then immediately his head pops back up because he like clocked it 1 second too late that like something's going on with Sam. And that's when he asks if he's okay. So there was a lot of like moments that were purely visual because like that was a very like protective older brother thing of like, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna glance at what, hold on a second, like what the fuck, what's going on? And you get a lot of older brother Dean in this episode too. Like there's no way I'm leaving you there's no way I'm leaving you alone with him. When Sam wants to talk to Max.
Yep. Yeah, and I kind of expected whenever Max went upstairs, I was thinking there was going to be some kind of dialogue about that too. Because I know as soon as you hear the footsteps coming up, Dean's looking over at the doorway, and I can imagine that his heart sunk when Max showed up in the doorway by himself.
Mm-hmm.
The first 1,000 thoughts that run through your head in that split second is, where is he? What's happened? And I'm sure they heard noise. I'm sure they heard all that stuff.
And the constant throughout the episode of Sam kind of freaking out and also kind of throwing himself under the bus in a lot of ways. Not under the bus, but like making it like, well, maybe I'm the reason why mom died. And I'm just like this, crazy guy, like I'm just like Max and just kind of going to not necessarily the worst case scenario, but definitely assuming the negative sides of everything, and Dean constantly trying to protect him from it, being like, no, it's not your fault. It's whatever it is, that this thing that killed mom, it's their fault, and you're not like this guy, and just constantly trying to protect himself from it. But also, let's be real, Dean is also trying to protect himself as well. Because if there's something wrong with his brother, then that's bad. That's not good.
Yeah. And in the scene or the spirit of giving the VFX props in this one. We did watch the cutscenes from the DVD. Just remember, we got the DVD because of the music. Stephanie Sparks special.
It's worth it.
And that was one of the cutscenes. Is that one of them was extended with the knife and Alice, stepmom.
Yeah, you saw the knife pierce the eyeball.
Exactly. And then the second one was actually showing not so much so Sam seeing the vision of Dean getting shot.
Yeah.
Number one, again, props to the effects. Because it was just, they didn't try to oversell it. They didn't try to overdo it. But it seemed like they just needed to tone.
Yeah, it's
back.
too much. Too much violent.
Graphic.
Yeah, too much graphic.
But yeah, again, it was excellent. But it really did sell the story a lot, and they did cross reference like the vision up a little bit with Sam getting to do the push. But nothing was really lost by taking it out.
No,
other than we just missed some of the I don't know, splash value.
Yeah.
Of the moment.
But I just remembered I said there's a behind the scenes thing about the gun props. In one of the commentaries, or maybe it's the bloopers. It's the blooper reel. We'll have to watch the blooper reel at the end of the season on the disc.
So we might have to do a special episode on the blooper reel. I'm so excited.
But in the blooper reel, Sam is messing up something in the scene where he's talking with Dean, who's cleaning the guns, and Dean he messes up again, and Jensen pauses. He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want 1,000,000 props to have to deal with while you're doing this scene?" Because I think Jared was complaining about something about the scene and difficult for him or whatever it is, and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want 1,000,000 guns to have to fucking deal with?"
Don't have a fake headache.
I always remember that being funny.
No, I did find I am keeping a couple of registries on this entire show. One of them is how many times crimes are committed, obviously. The second list that got a new addition to it today is how many things can fit in Dean's jacket pocket.
Oh my god. And this is a suit jacket.
Far, yeah, that's right. It wasn't even the leather jacket. So far, we got a Sam's Club size bag of M&Ms. We've got the Encyclopedia Britannica journal, and now we have a mega laser pointer.
Yeah, what was that thing?
No, what was the purpose?
We've never seen it before, and all of a sudden, it's like an infrared reader, I think is what he called it. But I'm like, why all of a sudden is that the tool that they're using? We've never seen it before, and all of a sudden now they have a thing that shoots lasers.
And these lasers that cross-hatch, 12 inches in front of the device.
For what purpose?
And he's reading the walls.
It's just so... I was very confused by that. It's almost like they just wanted a new toy or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we had the Walkman one too many times, and so now we have to venture into Dean's home crafting.
Maybe this director or maybe the writer is just extra prop heavy or prop happy because all those guns... Whatever scene have we seen where there's 7 guns on 7 guns and he's just sitting there cleaning them out and everything. Spoiler alert, I don't think we ever see that shit again. I don't think we ever see the boys just sitting there cleaning the guns.
Just chilling.
So I think somebody was just really prop happy or something.
Well, they did I'm thinking back through it because that's a good point, but it seems like most of the scenes where there was some sort of just conversation occurring, there was always a visual element of something else that was going on. Stepmom was talking, Alice was talking to Max.
Chopping
vegetables. Celery into very strange pieces, but that's a whole other thing. But then cleaning the guns.
But they have all of the casseroles. Why was she cooking anything?
Hold the presses. They had casseroles sitting out on the table.
Yeah. Why is she cooking? Maybe it's her safe space to cook. She likes playing with knives like you do. I don't know. Maybe.
Obviously, Max likes playing with knives.
Oh.
That's so... Oh.
I feel like that was a really...
Why did you point that out?
I feel like that she could have been doing anything else. She could have been cleaning or something, nervous cleaning.
No, she didn't have to have the knife out.
Oh, true.
In all fairness.
That's why. But
I guess he could have... he was in the kitchen.
He could have just...
going to do something... Exactly. He could have telekinetically yanked it out of the chopping block.
Yeah, she could have been washing one of the casserole dishes or something. I
just feel like they really wanted that tear poke.
Yeah.
So
no, they could have gotten it. They could have gotten it.
Man,
just be a little more creative with it.
That's a really good catch. I mean,
I don't think I ever thought about it until this time watching it. I was like, wait a second. Why is she cooking? Maybe it's because now as an adult, like a fully, like more so an adult than I was when I first watched the show. I was thinking, why in the world would anybody be cooking unless they had to? She's got casseroles for days.
Maybe she looked around and said, okay, this is one too many casseroles. I just need a salad. Maybe that was it. I'm trying here, man.
Yeah, I know. You're trying to justify it.
That is a very, very, very good point, I think.
Yeah.
That's top tier. Oh, good catch. I missed that one entirely. So other points for you?
Well, there's two things. Well, we have to do our favorites and all that too. But there's two things. One, I want to discuss the final scene between the boys in the hotel room because I think that deserves a little bit more unpacking. And two, I want to ask you what your reaction was when when Max said that his mom died when he was a baby. Yeah. And then the subsequent of died pinned to the ceiling on fire. Because I remember when I first watched it, I went, oh, and you were just silent.
I was shocked. In all candid. Like it was like, there were a lot of those moments, but then it hit, and then all of a sudden my mind started racing with the implications and what could it possibly mean. Also with the Roger Miller experience, there was a movement in the house. So I'm just running through.
That was Max.
Oh, he was actually there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. Missed that.
Yeah, I don't think he can do long, like distance telekinesis. I think he has to be there.
No, but I mean the fact that Sam's. I know we're sidebarring here for a second, but the fact that Sam had that connection from so far away, from a few hours away, I was leaving the geography portion basically out for the time being. And if you watch Telekinesis, I mean, Vader strangled the dude on the other ship over video.
Well,
obviously. Sam
also did say, I missed it, but he was there at the garage and he was there at Rogers.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That part didn't register. Well, regardless, I was running through, my mind started racing at that point. My EKG would have spiked immediately when that happened. So I was shocked to hear that we now have 3 women, 2 of them mothers.
2 little babies.
2 little babies. And then the third in love with the adult little baby. Trying to say that and not sound completely creeped out.
That sounds weird.
But we have a very consistent pattern, and the fact that they also have no leads on even the type of monster this is. The type of poltergeist, the type of thing this is.
No, what's his face? John, Jeffrey Dean Morgan told Sam it's a demon.
Oh, I thought he said that he was closing in. Okay, I forgot that part.
He said it's a demon, Sam.
It's a little later in the day than we usually record, so I think that's what's going on. But yeah, I was in total shock, and I am super interested in the end part, in the final scene as they were leaving, as they were getting ready to head out. But it feels like there were so many things that are foreshadowing. So I'm nervous about doing it. Because I've already made so many wrong reads here with my stupid Sam smirk. I don't know where to go with it.
Are we talking about the last scene, or are we talking about Max's revelation? Oh, what is the word? Revelation.
It's late for both of us, I see. Yeah, it's revelation.
I mean,
I was talking about the scene when they were both leaving.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure if you skipped ahead or if you're still talking about.
No, the Ben the Spoon.
Yeah, dude. I started laughing when Sam said, I pushed it, and he was like, oh, you got a little more upper body strength than I gave you credit for. But I started laughing because I was like, oh, I know it's coming.
Yeah, I heard you cackling. I was like, what did I miss? You're like, no, it's coming.
And then he just picks up the spoon and he holds it out arm's length away. Bend this. Leave it to Dean to have this like really serious and kind of scary moment and make a joke about it. That and then the Vegas thing.
Again, no complete desensitized to the trauma. Again.
Yeah, but I will
unfazed.
But I will say that the humor wasn't really helping Sam necessarily, but what did help Sam was when he was like, he's like, "This is serious, Dean," and da 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 da, and he goes, "Yeah, well, you're gonna be okay," or something like that. He's like, "You want to know how I know?" And he's like, "No, how do you know?" And he's like, "Because you got one thing that Max doesn't have." And he was like, "What's that?" Dad, because last I checked, he's not here, Dean. Which kind of makes me hurt a little for Dean, because it's like, Dad's the only one that can help you. But then I said, he's like, "No, me." He's like, "As long as I'm around, nothing bad's going to happen to you." And I love that they focused on Sam's face there for a good amount of time. They held it on his face, because you saw that just kind of almost imperceptible, not relief, but just kind of like wanting to believe it so bad. And even if he doesn't really fully believe it, at least knowing that he's not alone.
Yeah.
And that is invaluable when you're talking about something like this, where the great unknown, and is he going to be okay, and this, who knows what this battle is that they might have to fight, whether it's a demon or if it's something that has to do with him. At the very least, he's not alone. His brother is going to be there, and he knows his brother is going to do anything and everything possible to make sure that he's okay, that Sam's okay. And I thought that was it was said so casually, but it was such an impactful thing to say.
All the while, Dad is out completely alone. Voluntarily.
Yeah.
Which I find to be funny. Okay.
But yeah, the truth face.
Yeah.
Said it all.
I like that. And I really like how you called it truth face. Because I noticed as soon as he said Vegas, I was like, yeah, Deanism.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds right. And then as soon as Sam walked past him, yeah, that was you dropped it immediately. It was like, yep, truth face. Like, that's pretty cool. Behind all of Dean's just
bravado,
fake stoic, bravado is much better. Is the real man.
Mm-hmm.
Is an actual man as well.
Yeah,
that's
and in some ways a scared kid.
Yeah,
because he is still only 26.
Yep. I liked that. Or the way that they did some of these dynamics was really cool.
Yeah.
Once the opening scene car came to life, I'm still pulling for baby to come to life. And I know that it was actually Max, but that was the first thing that crossed my mind. Stephen King, Christine, we're going in.
They did
again.
It in episode 1.
Yeah. But I want more.
Okay.
I want a voice. I want her to be able to roll up and down the windows when she wants to.
So you want Sam and Dean to be high then?
What?
Yeah, like they get like high on some shrooms or something.
Oh, in order for the car to come to life. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I'll take anything as long as baby starts talking.
I actually really don't know the answer to that question. If that ever happens, I can't remember.
Well, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed because I have hope.
All right. So do you have anything else? Or do we go into favorite and least favorite?
I think we need to go into favorite, least favorite.
All right. Do you want to go first?
I don't care.
Well, what's your least favorite?
My least favorite? I have 2.
Okay.
The Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
You said he was in the recap. You said that it counts.
No, I was kidding.
Oh, okay, whatever.
It has to be in the episode. Because I don't like the recaps anyway.
I like recaps.
I know you do. That's why we watch them. I don't like them.
I do.
Because it's almost like a quasi-spoiler.
What? You've already seen it.
They're telling you which part to pay attention to, though. Because they only bring up what's relevant.
No.
It's a quasi-spoiler. It counts.
Stop it.
Yeah, that's why I don't like them. That's my first least favorite. You want to do them both, or do you want to do yours?
No, I'll do both.
Okay. My second one is a legitimate issue. And guys, I need to sound off because I tried to voice this when it happened, and I got some slack.
Ugh, I know what it is now.
Gentlemen, when a window goes up, you push it down, right? And especially these older wooden windows, especially if they pop back up, it has one issue. It's spring-loaded. Yeah. But when you try to pull it back down and it doesn't move, the older wood windows, it has one cause, and it means the window's gotten stuck. There's one thing that you do in that situation. You take your palm and you smack the windowsill a couple times and you break it free. Never in the history of humankind has somebody said, wow, this window's stuck. I can't get it to go down. I'm going to flip over and lay on my back and stick my head out the window. No, absolute garbage.
By the way, everything you said, I did not. I wouldn't have been like, oh, if I smack the window, it'll start working. None of that was knowledge in my brain.
So you just jump right to flipping over backwards and sticking your head out the window.
Well, he didn't jump right to it, first of all.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the troubleshooting process. But no one has ever... I
don't think that's true.
I did not believe that setup.
Well, that's...
in the slightest.
Well, that's because you think everybody has the same knowledge and...
Absolutely not. No. I'm not taking this critique.
You just assumed everybody knew that it was always the paint, and so you guys got to hit the thing, and I didn't know that.
I have watched a lot of other people mess with windows, and never have I seen anybody do anything close to flipping over and sticking their head out the window to look at the window that's not working right.
I think it's possible.
Absolutely not.
You're skeptical.
Also suspend a lot of disbelief. The car thing, I had a couple questions about it, but your responses were absolutely right. A lot of the situations would be like, yeah, maybe it's a little bit weird, like maybe taking on Bloody Mary in a House of Mirrors. Not actually a House of Mirrors, but a place with a gazillion mirrors. Maybe that wasn't the smartest idea. But this one, 100%, just couldn't. It broke the fourth wall for me.
You're entitled to your wrong opinion.
All right, your turn.
I don't really have a least favorite.
You have to have a least favorite. That's the rule.
No.
You can have my JDM least favorite.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Well, what about your favorite?
It's your turn now for your favorite.
Mine's pretty easy and kind of boring, but VFX, man. They just... They scored it. They scored an A+. They didn't overdo it. It was nice and simple. It flowed well. It enhanced the story. I thought it was a really good job.
Mine's a tie, I guess, between just the furthering of the storyline about Sam and the whole arc of Sam, dead mom, demon, just furthering that story arc along, blowing the door wide open. And also the hotel room scene at the end. I thought that was some really good stuff in there.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh, honorable mention, though, Max's performance. That's my honorable mention. That actor's performance playing Max. I thought it was just so good.
Good afterthought. Yeah, that's a good one to tag in. That's a really good one to tag in. I like that. Okay. Closing thoughts, final opinions.
I'm just excited to get to the next one. I mean, this was a good episode, don't get me wrong. I really, really like this episode, but the next episode is definitely one of my favorites. I really, really like it a lot. And I think Shadow's going to be your favorite. The next, not the next one, but the one after. Your favorite of the disc.
Well, the next one that's coming up is the Benders.
Mm-hmm. So what's your prediction?
Oh, that's right. Futurama crossover episode.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, because I have no idea what in the world a Bender would be other than Bender. That's what I got.
Well, I guess you're gonna have to wait. I know.
I'm thinking my likelihood is just my chances of success are not very good on this one.
No.
I mean, I haven't done that great on that anyway.
No, there was one you did pretty well, and I can't remember which one it was, but...
Was it the Scarecrow?
Oh, gosh.
Or it was the Shapeshifter one?
No, it wasn't Shapeshifter.
I don't know, man.
I'm trying to remember. You did do... It was a recently posted one that...
I don't know. Okay, anything else?
Yeah. I don't think so.
Okay. Well, then I guess we're going to go ahead and head over to go catch the Benders and see what that family or bicycle gang is up to these days.
Asylum. That's one that you...
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Asylum was the one that you predicted pretty well.
Oh, yeah, the one that was in Rockford.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Rockford Loves Park, Illinois.
Sure.
Okie dokie. So, awkward ending?
Awkward ending.
Awesome. I love it. Well, then we will be back in the next one. And I guess until then.
Oh. Driver, fix the music.
Shotgun shuts this K call. We need to go to bed. Okay, bye.